In very first class, I had given you details about the regions, different kind of regions of French Revolution. So, a student of class 9, please ensure that these three, the social, political, and economic regions, were vital. Apart from these, there were some immediate regions, and that was the price hike of bread. This created insecurity among common friends. Before know this, we must see how such situation created. It was 1774 when Louis XVI of Bourbon family was ascended to throne of France. He was 20 years old and got married with the Austrian princess Marie Antoinette. He was 20 years old only. Whenever at this age he got the throne, there was nothing to do because the treasury was empty. It means the earlier Louis than the 16th has not planned properly and their expenses were unplanned, and treasury had a very shocking effect. The treasury got empty. How? Let us see. Why treasury got empty? We have so many reasons about this. In fact, treasury got empty as the rulers of France, the monarchs of France, we can say, had long years of war with the neighboring country. That has drained the financial resources of France, along with very extravagant and luxurious courts at immense palaces of Versailles for the royal purposes only. Okay, this was the. Apart from these two, what the folly action was there? That was 13 American colonies were helped by France treasury to gain their independence from Britain, as Britain was an arch enemy of the France. Such foolish work of the French ruler doubled the loan taken from its market, merchant and traders to 2 billion livres. Earlier it was 1 billion livres. Those days These were the French currencies livre. Moneylenders has given the monarch a loan with an interest rate of 5%. Now the crisis emerged and now started demanding 10% per annum. This was impossible to bear such load and burden. But the monarch has to abide with the increased rate of loan because the monarchs were not in a position to return the principal amount of loan. That's why it became a budgetary provision of France. Like other issues and fields of expenses, a new field of interest repayment was installed in the budget. This was a serious crime because civil amenities and welfare were overlooked. Long years of war, 13 colonies issues, and foolishly mismanagement of the state affairs by the kings bring in a position that resources has to be raised, otherwise it will be total collapse and failure of the monarchical royal system. So the Louis XVI tried its best to impose a new tax to maintain extravagant court, universities, government offices, a large army. He planned himself and announced. Because the system of monarch was not as per the public welfare, only third state of the French common people had to pay taxes. Other two superior states of clergy and nobility were free from such burden. So the entire burden has to be borne by third state. And there was a provision whenever a new concept has to be brought up for the France. A meeting to restore such agreement at the Estates General. The Estates General was an institution of monarchy whose delegates were yes men of monarch. 300 delegates from clergy, next 300 delegates from nobility, and 600 delegates from the third states. This is also a vital affair, and it became the immediate region a represent palace was decorated to hold the meeting of a State General. All the members nominated by the kings were invited to have a discussion for the new taxation. However, it was the region of outbreak of the revolution which are discussed later. But affairs of state and particular imperialism in France before 1789 was called Old Rime, or you can say the classical age of France. After a revolution, this age got an final end, and the rule of Louis XVI has ended, and he became a constitutional monarch. And constitutional monarchy was the frame structure of new system after revolution in France. As we have told you earlier, there were three estates. First was the clergy, second nobility, and third estate had the common people. And these common people may be categorized in three sections also. The heaviest and well-off section of the society, third estate, were the big businessmen, merchants, court officials, lawyers. Peasants and artisans, along with the craftsmen, were the second, third estate category, who were also earning, and their income were good, and they were giving taxes to the royal power. But third, the small peasants, servant, land slavers, seamstresses, fruit sellers, the flower seller, the servants in two upper estates, who were only to earn money and fed their stomachs. There were nothing more and more. This condition has paved a vital way that in the population of France, 90% population was made up of peasants, and only a small number of them owned their land they being cultivated. Means population of peasants comprised of 90%, and this 90% population has very little people have their own land. Otherwise, rest of the lands were of the clergy, churches, nobility, and the big farmers. About 60% of the land was owned by nobles, churches, and other richer members of the third estate. And rest France was under 40% of the land area, cultivated land. The number of the first two estates, that is clergy and the nobility, enjoyed certain privilege by birth, because they had born in a specific class of the France. That's why they had so many benefits, and they don't have to give anything to anybody. It was the third estate who has to bear all the burden of the estate. These two most important section of the society were exempted from given feudal dues. However, they were collecting revenue and taxes also. This included feudal dues, which they extracted from the peasants. Peasants were obliged to render services to the lords. They not only paying taxes, but they just had to render services to their land masters. अपने मालिकों के घर पे, उनके खेतों में, उनके बिजनेस संस्थानों में उन्हें सेवा करनी होती थी, सर्विस देना होता था. And that was of course by forced labor. There was no wage. Wage was very limited, either limited or no, only the stomach full food. At the work in his house and field they were working. The houses of the nobility and churches, and the fields of the large peasants, and the churches fields, and they just have to either serve in army or participate in building roads at the mass level. The churches having a particular religious tax that was called tithes from the peasants, and all the people of third estate to pay taxes to the state also. There was a direct tax that was called tele, and so many indirect taxes on produce article like tobacco or salt. So it is very clearly being told that the major burden of taxes was borne by the third estate only. Thank you so much. Next day. Thank you so much.